Street. So together we will be your MCs for today. We'll introduce ourselves properly in a minute, but we firstly wanted to hand over to Auntie Rhonda Dixon-Grosvenor and Nadina Dixon for an official welcome to country. Auntie Rhonda Dixon-Grosvenor is a Gadigal, Darug and Yuin Aboriginal elder, master's graduate, artist and consultant specialising in leadership, social justice and peace. Nadina Dixon is a Wiradjuri, Yuin and Gadigal for the Darug Burrinburrigal clan, Indigenous multidisciplinary artist. Could we please welcome them up to the stage?
Marak. Muk muk. Wombo. Marakan. Nachikong Nunga. Through the mother. Warami. Gadigal Dark Nura, Walamabemi, Inyana, Bayalawa, Ngaya Nayalang, Budjuri, Darabara Yanu. Welcome to Gadigal country. We are direct descendants, myself and my daughter. And we have also our little cousin here. There's two little young women representing our nations. And it's just so lovely to see all you beautiful young people here with all your power and your strength and your care about country. We would like to also tell you a little bit about our lineage. So we're from Gummerberry down to Yarramundi, down to Maria Lock. It was placed in the Parramatta Institution. Down to Jenny Swift, it was put in the institution down near the Domain. And she lived in the boat sheds and she used to walk through Centennial Park, out to Laparoos to her people and our people. And then we come down through my grandfather's lineage to his daughter, through me, my daughter and my 13 grandchildren. So we definitely, the Gadigal Darug people and the Dharawal people from Laparoos, we're also connected with the Dharawal people. We're definitely here. We haven't gone anywhere. And we're so proud to be here and see all these thousands of people here that want to fight with us for climate justice. What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! We stand together, my brothers and sisters. We send a message all around the world. We're united together. We stand as brothers and sisters. The fight for the right of Mother Earth and our waters and our riverways. I'd like to welcome our brothers and sisters from Borroloola, came all the way to tell you about their journey, their story. Thank you.
We'd like to sing a song from back home first, before we start off. Kalawari nagaringo kalwangara garala yama 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 jai kalawari nagaringo kalwangara garala yama 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 jai kalawari nagaringo kalwangara garala yama yama jai kalawari nagaringo kalwangara garala yama 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 jai kalawari nagaringo kalwangara garala yama 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 jai kalawari nagaringo kalwangara.
Greeting, brothers and sisters from the Gulf country, Borroloola, Northern Territory. My name is Gadrian Hoosen from the Yanyuwa and Garawa tribe. We've traveled for 3 days to get here on Gadigal land. Thank you, Auntie and Sister, for welcoming to your country. We are all one family, black and white. A climate justice family. All you young students leading the strike, thank you. We know as future ancestors, we can protect country, protect water for all future generations. Our youth give us hope. How can this government ignore all of us all around the world? But who is suffering the most? Us in remote community. We can't drink our water at Garawa town camps, where I live. That's from the mining and the Northern Territory Labor and federal Liberal government letting this destroying our way of life. Over and over since colonization, enough is enough. Right here, I'm standing with my nephew, Scott McDinney. I'm standing here with my nephew, Scott McDinney. We've been traveling right across the Northern Territory to unite with our people. A just transition should be publicly funded, not privately profited. Old and young, we united, we are strong. But we need jobs on country for young people like my nephew here. Publicly funded by all governments. With this people power, I know we can make this just transition real for all people. That's why we're all here. To stand with all people of the world, indigenous people, students and workers' unions, all striking for the climate and Mother Earth. Our songline shows all the way forward. They are the key to protection of our country. Culture is stronger than contamination. homeland before treaty, tree before treaty, land before treaty, water before treaty, country before treaty. Why would we want a treaty to a government that want to destroy our land? A government that lifted the moratorium in the Northern Territory on fracking. A government that tortures our young people. Water is life. Together we united as a climate justice family. We will win and we will survive. Thank you.
For welcoming us here on Gadigal land today, as well as to Gadrian Husan. The climate crisis has been an issue I have always felt deeply passionate about. And after the frustration of seeing our leaders sweep it under the rug time and time again, less than a year ago today, I founded the Sydney group of School Strike for Climate. I could never have anticipated that we would grow to the size we have today. At first, a few thousand people nationally was unbelievable, and now we have tens of thousands of people just here in Sydney all together today. At that first strike, I said that this was just the beginning, that we would keep striking, keep taking action, and do everything we could to avert this crisis. And today shows that we have followed through with that promise. And we will never back down. I'm here for the same reason as all of you. I'm here to prevent further damage to our planet. I'm here to demand that our government takes urgent action to prevent the climate crisis. We are on the outskirts of the biggest catastrophe humanity has ever faced, and our government is doing nothing. I am angry and I am scared. I just want to say future, but our Prime Minister is not even going to the Climate Summit on September 20th. Deputy Prime Minister doesn't even believe in climate change. We want a safe future. Who's with me? Sydney, let's show them today that we will not stand by. We will not let our government stand by as our future burns. And just a few practical details for you. Please take all your rubbish with you and take your awesome signs home with you. Sorry, I'm really short, so I'm just gonna tiptoe a bit. There are refillable water stations near the stage and porta potties, so stay hydrated. If you left a bike at the valet parking, please come and get it before we start marching. And for lost children, please don't get lost, that would be freaky. For parents, if you have lost a child, let a marshal, they're in yellow vests, and there are a heap of them, know The marshals will take your contact details and connect you with the Lost Children team. For children, if you have lost your parents, let someone in a high-vis vest know. They will find your parents and take you to a Lost Children marshal at the Lost Children meeting points. Woo! There are 2 meeting places. The domain meeting is the St. John First Aid Tent near Hospital Road, right over there. And the Hyde Park meeting point is at the large speakers on the north side of Park Street. Look for the orange Lost Children sign. Jean is going to explain to you what the problem is with our climate and what our government is not doing right. We are in the grips of a massive climate crisis right now. The world is literally on fire. The Amazon is burning. It is only the beginning of spring, and already Queensland and New South Wales are on fire, and we are expecting worse to come. Droughts are pushing farmers to the brink. Animals are disappearing because water is running out. Extreme heat is putting the most vulnerable in our communities at huge risk. Half of the Great Barrier Reef has been devastated due to climate change heating up our oceans. But that's just today. What about tomorrow? This is predicted to get a lot worse if we don't act now. In a terrifying new report due out later this month, the UN predicts that at just 1.5 degrees of warming, 200 million people could be displaced by rising sea levels. That's 4 times the current volume of refugees globally. At 2 degrees, 400 million people will face water shortages. Mega cities in countries like India will become unlivably hot. Even countries in Europe are expecting death from extreme heat. The number one cause of this crisis is the mining and burning of coal, oil, and gas. Which means that our government should be helping move Australia beyond fossil fuels to 100% clean energy and safe, dignified work for everyone who needs it. But instead, they're helping billionaire companies like Adani these projects put all of us in the firing line. Companies who disrespect workers. Companies who are trashing our environment. Companies who do unspeakable things to our First Nations people. Like Adani, who has bankrupted the spokesperson for the Wangan and Jungalingu people, Uncle Adrian Burragubba, and who are now making these indigenous people trespassers on their own land. With the help of the Queensland government. The same goes for all companies that are helping Adani. Companies like the engineering firm GHD, who won't stop working with Adani despite the community asking them to stop again and again. Whilst the UN Emergency Summit is taking place, at which world leaders pledge to make further emissions cuts. But ScoMo isn't going. He doesn't think it's important enough. He doesn't think our futures are worth it. Instead, he's going to meet with Trump. The people in power and the corporations fueling the climate crisis are letting us down. From the politicians that are denying the truth to corporations like Origin Energy who plan to frack the Northern Territory for gas, or the engineering firm GHD who are helping Adani with their plans to build what would be Australia's biggest coal mine. It is not okay. These people and companies are literally burning our futures. The climate crisis impacts everyone. This is not an inner city issue or a greenie issue. This is not a young person's issue or a wealthy person's issue. This is an everybody issue. Climate change hurts us in the cities. It hurts us in the regions and countryside. It disproportionately impacts upon working people who have done nothing to cause the crisis but are feeling its devastation first and worst. The communities and small island countries. It affects businesses, older people, younger people, and everyone in between. And that's why there are so many people joining this global climate strike movement. Climate-denying government would like to have us believe that climate change isn't a real problem. What do we say to that? Try telling that to the hundreds of thousands of Australians striking in almost 100 locations across Australia today and the millions striking in 150 countries across the world. Try telling that to more than 30 Aussie unions that have backed our strike and their millions of workers. Try telling that to the thousands of businesses, churches, faith groups, social services organisations and opinion leaders who are standing with us today and have been urging stronger action on climate change for years and for decades to come. When you look around you today, it seems that the only people standing on the wrong side of history on this issue is our government. And the corporate bosses who they do favours for. For far too long, these climate-denying politicians, corporate bosses and the conservative media who act as their mouthpiece have been trying to pit the rest of us against each other. They've been pretending that we're not in a climate crisis and we don't need to think or act differently to do anything about it. Even as lives are lost and ecosystems destroyed, they continue to deny the science that is staring them in the face. But we're here today to show that we stand together united in our commitment to climate justice. We are the majority. And we demand change. Since the election, the number of people getting involved in the climate justice movement has skyrocketed. As the temperatures rise, so will we! But as we rise, it's so important that we do it together and not leave anyone behind. Because at the end of the day, it's the same unjust system hurting the climate that is also hurting so many people in our community. From workers and First Nations people to the queer community and the mentally and physically impaired. Government says that we're all sheep who just follow what others say. Let's stand together and prove that we care, we're informed, and we aren't backing down. So, let's do a big shout out for everyone in the crowd who has come along today. We are the people who are going to be in this fight for decades to come. So let's celebrate each and every one of us.
Give us a big cheer if you fit into any one of these categories.
You have traveled a long way to get here.
You are in primary school.
You're in high school.
You are in university.
You're a worker.
This is
politicians to do way more about the climate crisis.
Many of us live in coal and gas communities. Many of our families and friends work in the industry. My granddad was a coal mining engineer. He came to Australia to provide for his family. When the industry tightened, he was left without a job. He was a single father of 2 children struggling to put food on the table. Coal mining is not just a job, it's an identity. We understand the role that fossil fuels have played in putting food on the table for families and providing employment, particularly in regional areas. But we need to transition to renewable energy. As we all work to stop the worst of this crisis playing out, it's vital that we stand together, not against one another. Our frustration and anger about climate action is never for the people working in the industry or living in fossil fuel communities. It is for the people in power who are failing to drive solutions that care for people and our planet. Climate justice is not about jobs versus the environment. Just as climate change hurts people, unemployment hurts people too. Workers and their families deserve respect, certainty, and good, secure jobs. All of us deserve a safe future and policies that don't hand us more extreme heat, drought, fires, storms, water, and food insecurity. None of us should have to live in fear of an uncertain future. It is time to put aside the politics and sit down respectfully to work out a solution to this problem. Because too many people are already suffering and will suffer if we don't. And that's why our demands of politicians are about acting to halt this crisis while also creating good, safe, and meaningful work for everyone. If our government cares about all of us, then they need to get on with the job of stopping any new coal, oil, and gas projects, powering Australia with 100% renewable energy by no later than 2030, and doing all of this whilst funding a just transition and jobs for fossil fuel workers and their communities so that no one is left behind. Now, some adults hear these demands and laugh at us. Others attack us, making vile comments about young people, including Greta, who has overcome personal health challenges to spur a mass global movement of young people standing up for our future. And to these adults we say, laugh at us, attack us, do what you want to us, because you are on the wrong side of history. We are in the grips of a massive global crisis, and you are leaving it to children to clean up your mess. And you do this while bushfires, floods, heat, and drought destroy lives and livelihoods. Where is the justice in that? As Mahatma Gandhi said, first they ignore you. Greta sat ignored outside Swedish Parliament for 8 weeks when she started striking last August. Then they laugh at you. We've had no shortage of adults ridicule us and tell us to go back to school. Then they fight you. The government wishes we'd go away and have used their megaphone and bullying tactics to try and shut us down. But we will win! We may not have won yet, but just look at how much we have all achieved since the school strike began here in Australia last October. In less than a year, spurred by teenagers in country Victoria, we have built a mass movement. In March, Australia's strikes last November were the first major school strikes in the world. In March, we organised Australia's largest climate mobilisation in history. Then, sadly, most of us couldn't vote in the election, which sucked ass. Maybe the result would have been different if we had. We are not going away. We are only just getting started. We're going to because there is no other option. This is the biggest crisis humanity has ever faced. It calls on all of our creativity, ideas, compassion, and altruism to confront it. Woo! We need everyone because it is not going to be easy. Transforming our economy and society so that they work for all of us, not just the richest 1%, is not straightforward. But that's the point. There are some impacts that we have already locked in, but walking away is not an option. By working together, we can build a fairer and better society for everyone. A society that looks after its most vulnerable people, stands up for workers, honors First Nations people, and values our diversity. A society like this will be better prepared to weather the storms ahead and respond with solutions and innovations that we cannot even imagine. We're not here to tell you the answers. I'm 17, I'm a school student, I cannot. That is for all of us to work out together. But by each of us leading in our own way and calling on others to do the same, we can build the path out of this mess and push our politicians to take action that is commensurate with this crisis, starting with the school strike demands. We have a lineup of incredible speakers here today to share their visions and stories of climate justice. But before we introduce them, take a minute to close your eyes. Just do it. Imagine yourselves 10 years from now. It's almost 2030. Imagine that we've broken the political deadlock on climate. Instead of a race to the bottom on climate justice, it's a race to the top. Politicians are stepping up with bold plans to tackle the crisis. Publicly funded renewable energy is being rolled out everywhere, creating good, secure jobs. Fossil fuel projects are being phased out with equivalent paid, dignified work for the people working in the industry and their communities. The wisdom of our First Nations people is being respected and called upon to guide the pathway forward. Many of the young people you see here today are leading change on a local, state, national and international stage. Let this sink in and then ask yourself, what did it take to get to this point, and what am I going to do to change tomorrow to help make sure that climate justice happens? We do want your hope, but hope is a process that is created by action. And there's no hope unless all of us step up to this challenge together.
I'd now like to introduce our next speaker. Marley Thomas is a proud Kamilaroi woman and a Year 11 student at Gunnedah High School who spoke at the Gunnedah rally during the last school strike on March 15th. I'd also like to welcome the First Nations contingent up on stage.
Yama, I acknowledge the elders of the land we're standing on today, both past and present, and I'm honoured to be here today. My name's Marley. I'm a proud Kamilaroi woman and I live in modern-day Gunnedah, the heart of Kamilaroi country for my clan in the northwest of New South Wales. We have been impacted and devastated by multiple mega open-cut mines and proposed coal seam gas which destroys my people's sacred places and objects. The New South Wales Education Department is always trying to stop students from going on strike to protest against what they believe in. I don't seek the authority from the New South Wales Education Minister. I am here on the authority of my elders. I was asked today to talk about the impacts of climate change on my culture and heritage. To do so brings a simmering but growing anger as I struggle to think of one way that climate change doesn't affect our culture. We cannot guarantee water will be there for drinking. We can no longer guarantee that we will enjoy the cool, refreshing waters for swimming or continuation of our bush tucker and ceremonies along our beautiful rivers and riverbanks. The sources of water that we have underground in the bores have been drilled by the multiple mines around us. I have had to help collect bottled water for our family in Walgett, where families are spending up to $27 a carton for drinking water. Many other towns in New South Wales are facing the same crisis. They are living in inhumane conditions with no accessible drinking water. This is unacceptable. When the water quality goes, people get sick, especially our old people or anyone who's vulnerable because they have heart or kidney conditions. We rely on country, and these rivers are our life. The red gums are dying, and the traditional food supply is difficult. Our culture teaches us about being sustainable, always leaving enough for the land and waters to survive, and for fish, plants and animals to continue and replenish. Droughts, heat waves, bushfires and rising temperatures are driving our ecosystems towards collapse. We fight not only for the future of our young people, but to respect our elders. My ancestors have passed down a responsibility to me and a right to my culture and heritage. The threats to this are real, current and escalating. That's why, since I was younger, I have been involved in putting a stand to stop coal mines from ruining our lands, and have been involved in protecting our sacred sites. In March this year, at Gunnedah High, I went on strike with students across the continent and the world. We are fighting for a shared future, but Indigenous young people have something else at stake. The need to continue in our ancestors' footsteps, and the responsibility we have not only to keep ourselves alive and well, but our country alive and well. The only well-paid job opportunities currently available for Aboriginal people in our communities are in the mines. The government needs to create better jobs for us now. We want jobs looking after our lands, not destroying them. It's fantastic to be standing in front of you all, a massive movement that knows Indigenous people need to be at the lead of the fight for climate justice, because this isn't just about the future, but about the present and the past. It's about justice for us. We need to force change and be part of the change to save our planet and our communities. We need for something to happen now, not later, not to start thinking later. Action now. That sort of action would include to stop coal and gas projects, to stop thieving the only water left in the country, and to stop burning coal. As Kamilaroi people, everything we are and do relies on climate justice starting today. This land is and always has been traditional Aboriginal land. This land has and always will be traditional Aboriginal land. This land is and has always been traditional Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be traditional Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be traditional Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be traditional Aboriginal land.
Thank you, Marley. And now I'd like to introduce Salome Matangi. Salome is a Pacific climate warrior. Woo! She is the coordinator of the Sydney team.
She is Samoan and Tuvaluan. I'd also like to welcome the Pacific Climate Warrior contingent up on stage with Salome.
How is everyone? Thank you for being patient, everyone. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I would also like to acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. My name is Salome Nellie Matangi. I'm Samoan and I'm also Tuvaluan. I am also a Pacific Climate Warrior. When I first joined the Warriors, I didn't realize how close to home this climate change thing really was for me. I didn't realize that not having a homeland and not being able to set foot on my island homes could actually become a reality. I didn't know that I could do anything about this. I have a right to set foot on my islands. I have a right to see its beauty and experience everything that my island has to give. My generation and the generations to come have a right to stand on the same soil that our ancestors did. We have a right to see and experience all the beauty our mother islands have to give. So today and every day after this, I'm going to protect this right. We are going to continue to stand and fight for our islands. We are not drowning, we are fighting. We are not drowning, we are fighting. We are on the forefront of climate change, and we have been leading this fight against climate change. Our youth has taken it upon themselves to raise awareness and take action. We have transitioned to 100% renewable energy. We have cut down on our use of plastic. We have gone up against the people who say they need proof of climate change. We are the living proof. We are the Matangi Malohi. Healers, warriors, protectors, leaders. leaders pave the way for their emerging leaders. They do not set them up for destruction. Australia should be ashamed of their support for Adani. Australia should be ashamed of ignoring the indigenous people of this land for economical gain. Australia needs to stop picking profits over people. Australia needs to stop Adani and stop any other new coal mines from opening. Australia needs to phase out of all coal and burning production. End fossil fuel subsidies and start that rapid transition to renewable sources of energy. Australia needs to join us in this fight against climate change. Be the Matangi Malohi that pushes us forward. We are strong winds in this movement. We are Matangi Malohi. I'm going to get my family up here to help me out with this one, okay? And all of you as well, if you can catch on. We are not drowning! We are not drowning! We are not drowning! We are not drowning! And one more in case they didn't hear us. We are not drowning! We are not drowning! We are not drowning! One more. But everyone together with me, yeah? On 3, 2, 1. We are not drowning! We are fighting! We are not drowning! We are fighting! We are not drowning! We are fighting!
We would all know that just one rally or protest won't entirely change our world. However, the power of our movement comes from taking sustained action and growing our size and power every day from now on. That's why we are calling on all of you to text in your details so that we can send you follow-up information about next steps from here. There are a ton of important climate justice campaigns at critical junctures right now. From fracking in the Northern Territory to the long-running fight to keep Adani's coal in the ground, to community campaigns to support new renewables projects that generate good, secure jobs. When you sign up, we'll send you information about ways you can connect with these campaigns and also let you know about the climate strike's next steps, which are being discussed at the moment. Okay, so if everyone can pull out your phones so you can text into the number. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. I'll tell you the number. I'm going to read it out. Don't worry, I'll read it out in a second. Okay, so what you need to do is text the word strike, that's all capitals, strike, to this number. And when I say a number, I want you to call it back out to me, okay? So do it to 0, 4, 2, 9, 2, 0, 4, 1, 7, 6. Okay, so you don't need to call it back, but I'm going to read it out one last time just to be safe. Okay? So that's 0, 4, 2, 9, 2, 0, 4, 1, 7, 6. Okay. So remember to text in that number and text strike. In all capitals, text strike to that number. And you know what? We're going to do it one more time just for safety. I want you to slow. 0, 4, 2, 9, 2,
environmental movement. Okay, now we're going to hear a couple of chants from our core team members, Danielle and Luca. Can we please give them a big cheer? Let's make sure that everybody in New South Wales Parliament knows that we want action.
Okay, so for this first one, we're going to call a line. We need you to repeat after us. All good? Okay. From coal and gas to wind and sun, this power shift has just begun. From coal and gas to wind and sun, this power shift has just begun. Okay, next one goes. Climate action is our mission. We need a just transition. Climate action is our mission. We need a just transition. Climate action is our mission. We need a just transition. Climate action is our mission. We need a just transition. Climate action is our mission. We need a just transition. Woo! And because our world leaders are acting as if they're still children, we're going to bring up a single primary school chant for you guys. You ready? Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there is no doubt about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there's no doubt about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there's no doubt about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there's no doubt about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there's no doubt about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Climate change is real and there's no doubt about it. Now we're going to hear from two more incredible speakers who know the importance of a just transition. Up first will be Tommy John Herbert. Tommy is a rank and file MUA member who works as a wharfie at Hutchison Port Botany. Tommy has also worked in the fossil fuel industry for many years as a seafarer servicing offshore gas projects. Tommy will be joined by his workmates up on stage. Next we will be joined by Alan Hicks, the National Secretary of the Electrical Trades Union of Australia. ETU members will also be coming up with Alan. Let's make them welcome.
I want everyone here to join me in a chant. Climate justice, workers' rights, one struggle, one fight. 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 Thank you. My name is Tommy John Herbert, and just before I begin, I want to thank Rhonda and Nadine for that powerful welcome to country. Myself, I descend from Māori heritage. My iwi is Ngāti Toa, and I'm so proud to share the stage with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. I'm a wharfie down at Port Botany, but I spent most of my career working in the seafaring industry on fossil fuel projects. I'm a proud member of the MUA, and even more so because as I speak, not one of our cranes is moving in our workplace. We voted to take industrial action today because our company continues to strip and try and attack our work conditions. They even had the nerve to send out an email last night and tell us that if anyone attended this rally, that would be considered illegal industrial action. Well, here we are. Here we are. Here we are showing solidarity with everyone here today. Because it's these multi-billion-dollar companies who are destroying the planet. As students and workers, our struggle is united. As students, you've taken a stand. You've got great legs to come out here today. You've gone up against your chancellor, your principals. You've been torn down in the media. As a worker and a unionist, we know exactly what that's like. We take a stand against our bosses. We get torn down by the media and told we're nothing but thugs.